same time, this language of nationality is a language of majoritarian hegemony, because many of these countries symbolize this, because many of those countries actually got independence and fought back imperial Western powers in the name of the majority culture, in the name of majority tradition, right? So Bengali nationalism brought Bangladesh, therefore it's a country for Bengalis, for all other communities. So there is a specific, and that will be one of the important recommendations which I've already submitted in written form, the constitutional recognition of minorities and thinking about alternative models of democracy, like constitutional model of democracy, as Mona was sharing the experience and the experiment, I would say, at this moment in time, about how sharing arrangements in the constitution. That can be done, that should be done, and at least this is something that UN Minority Forum can advance and advocate strongly for. The final point is a bit abstract, but nonetheless important, especially for policymakers and researchers. So when we talk about minorities, we often talk about minority women, and specific, it's kind of like multiple layers of violence. So minorities are suppressed, minority women are suppressed even more, right? And you can talk about all sorts of gender issues. So on top of that, or in addition to that, I think there is very important feminist literature and discourse that problematizes this question of statehood, this whole idea that the state has to be a kind of homogeneous whole in itself is a very masculine idea. And the way feminist scholars thought about international order in its multiplicity, focusing on non-state actors in terms of resistance, but also at the level of global organization, the organization of the global order. I think minority rights scholars and practitioners and policymakers has a lot to learn from that feminist discourse on statehood, and to think about minorities not a kind of a group of victims. So I'm talking about beyond this vulnerability framework. So minorities not only as a victim of something, rather to think about minorities as a group with agency, who are very much capable of resistance, to see them as an element of the global order, a constituent element of the global order, not just a peripheral group of people who are always the victim and they need a kind of savior to come and rescue them. I think there is a need for this massive paradigmatic shift to better contextualize minority discourse itself, if not minorities. So I'll stop with that. Thank you again, Pratita.
You raised the issue of women. Perhaps we can do a little discussion, because in Asia, as you know, the issue we have constantly of personal laws and a whole host of issues relating to women within minorities. As you know, would someone like to speak on that? Emma, maybe would you like to say something?
Happy to jump in on that. Definitely, I think we've seen increasingly, even in the Indian context, definitely how the rights of women are often pitted against religious rights, and now when we're looking at the larger narrative that is ongoing, it becomes even more difficult to articulate the rights of women because it is seen as somehow then delegitimizing the struggles that minority groups have. And there's an entire discussion around the issue of triple law. But even at this time,
Jalan dengan 2